Majority of people are not lacking intelligence. They're just defending terrible ideas or even versions of themselves that don't really exist anymore. That's why it is so common to see people stuck in terrible relationships, jobs, repeating weak communication habits, and saying things that deep down they don't really believe. Why we kinda do this? Simple. It's human nature. When there is a little bit contradiction between our self-image, what we believe, and how we kinda see ourselves, there is going to be somewhat a discomfort. This discomfort and tension is called cognitive dissonance. I'm Ryan Carter, this is the Ryan Carter Lab, and today we're breaking down some modern psychology and communication techniques. Let's go. Here's the simplified version. The human brain wants internal consistency. We want to believe I'm smart, I'm amazing, I make incredible choices, I'm in control. So when reality threatens that idea, it's going to create tension. And what do? Well, 99% of people, we're actually just going to rationalize it, minimize it, basically flip and change the narrative. Because it's way easier to protect the ego than to learn a real lesson. That's why cognitive dissonance is not just a psychological issue. This is also communication as well as a performance problem, which is something very common to see. Once you understand that, you're going to start to see it everywhere. You're going to see it in business, you're going to see it in day-to-day talks, and you're also going to see it in the media. Imagine someone going in for a meeting. They're smart, they understand the topic, and they know what they have to do. But when it's time to talk, they over-explain, ramble, and lose the room. Nobody really cares about what they're saying. So they're gonna feel a type of contradiction and tension that is very normal. Now, they go from I'm smart to maybe I'm just a bit unclear and I over-explain a little bit. It's way easier to protect our ego in that moment. But we have two options. One, we can learn from it by admitting to it and trying to do a better job next time. Or option two, which is even more common, alright, I'm just too smart. Alright, they don't know what I'm talking about. Over-explaining actually helps me articulate my feelings and ideas even better. In that moment, the second option is gonna feel way easier and better at the same time. But long term, it is gonna destroy your leverage and influence. Because the room doesn't reward what you meant. It rewards what you landed. Alright, another example. Let's say someone buys something expensive they can't really afford. So there is that tension again between I'm financially disciplined and I just made an impulsive or dumb decision. But something easier that we can do is we can just upgrade that story. Oh, I deserve it. It's gonna motivate me. The ROI on this is gonna be fantastic. Or it's an investment. Down the line, it's gonna work out. This is where people get stuck for many years. It's not that they're not thinking about it. In reality, they are. They just can't tolerate the discomfort. Mind you, this is nothing new. The idea was first introduced by Lee and Festinger back in the 1950s. In one of the classic demonstrations, they did this type of study. So participants were kind of divided into two groups. One of them was paid just a little bit, and the other one was paid much more than the first one. But their task was to do something mundane and boring and then talk about it and say that it was really interesting. What were the results? Take a guess. Your guess might be right. The group that was paid less actually reported having more satisfaction and being happier with the task compared to the group that was compensated actually pretty well. Because even though they weren't getting a lot of money, they had to come up with this idea that, oh, what I'm doing is interesting. Because they didn't want to feel that discomfort, like, oh, I'm doing something boring and I'm not even getting money for it. So that's how they protected their self-image. This is exactly why smart people can become a little bit harder to coach than the average person. Because when you're known as the expert, when you're known as the intelligent or reasonable one, it is a little bit harder to say, I was wrong, I made a mistake, I need to update myself, or there are some things that I can do better. This is where careers split. A person protects an identity they built at 25, the other one updates it at 38. 10 years later, one of them is complaining about the room not getting them, while the other one is commanding it. The difference is not IQ, not at all. It's about ego flexibility. You might be asking why this matters now. Mainly because modern life gives you all the tools you need to protect your own ego. You have social media algorithms like Instagram or TikTok feeding you content of people who agree with you. Your social circle might be just reinforcing your own blind spot. You curate an image before actually building the substance. You sound certain online, but confused and kind of hesitant in person. This is where people kind of just give up and stop improving. That's gonna kill your growth, and it's not gonna make you a better version of yourself. What you need to do is learn how to stay confident without becoming rigid, how to be persuasive without lying to yourself or other people. People who rise to the occasion are not people who never feel cognitive dissonance. They are people who take it in and use it as feedback. All right. So, here are 5 simple things that you can do starting today. Number 1, catch the moment of self defense. Whenever you feel like you're defending an emotion or an idea, remember that's just emotional spike. Not always, but often. Second, ask yourself one brutal question: am I doing this to protect my ego? It seems simple, but the answer is going to help you out a lot. It's going to change the way you look at things, perceive them, and how you approach things going forward. Third one, which in my opinion is the most important one, you have to start separating your identity and behavior. If you cannot really communicate with people, don't say I'm a terrible communicator. No. Oh, I'm kind of bad at communicating under pressure. Mainly because identity-based shame creates denial, while skill-based framing creates progress. Number 4, you have to replace ego relief with evidence. Whenever you're not sure about it, gather evidence, gather data. You don't need to make up a story about what's going on. See it in a logical way. Last but not least, build new standards. The goal is not to never feel cognitive dissonance. No, it's to learn from it and how to move on from it. Oh, damn, you're still around? So, cognitive dissonance is not a flaw you eliminate. It's a signal you start to read. When you start reading it, you see it everywhere. And then you know how to deal with it. I don't know, follow or don't follow. You want to check out our website? That's cool. Link down in the description. Next video might be next Friday. Hopefully another Friday, some Friday. I'll be back. See ya.